Hi, and welcome to another episode of Slingy's Things. This time we're looking at the Great Wolf VOZLAK from LooseCollector from their CRYPT line. And this is, right out of the box, an incredible, super cool, huge, heavy-looking figure. So it definitely passes the look test. The paint's great, everything's awesome, beautiful. Now moving on to articulation, this thing is tight. Oh, look at him go. Right out of the box. He is very stiff, requires a lot of heating up, and even when you heat him up, he likes to seize again after he cools. It's a bit frightening. It's at a level of which is maybe a little too excessive. I assume they made him very tight so he could support this gigantic, heavy body. But it's frightening. For example, this ankle here is super tight and gummy that it seemed that no amount of heating it up could get this thing to move in a way where I could get it just right. So I'm not even going to try it. I'm going to try to use maybe I have recommendations of shock oil or something. I might use that to see if I can get that anywhere because I'm too afraid to do it any other way. The hips are kind of difficult. I have a hard time getting him to kick up. You just don't want to push it too far because you don't want to break it. So I'm being very cautious with him so far, but he might get a little bit easier to use the more I use him. Something interesting I want to know, I don't know if this is just my version, but for some reason this side is very white, and this side seems like it got a lot of gray paint. He's almost like a gray wolf on this side. White? Gray. Might not be as easy to see on the camera as it is in person. Look at him go. That's another thing. You got to balance him just right because he is stable, but he could also fall easily, and I feel like I wouldn't want to see the damage if he falls. Definitely would not. So I'm keeping a nice firm grip on this guy so he doesn't fall down. But anyway, those are basically my initial impressions. Are these issues with the joints enough to say it's not worth buying the figure? I don't think so. I think it's still worth it. For me at least, because I really wanted a werewolf with this sort of build. I think the really muscular ones are very cool looking. So it was right up my alley, but would I prefer if the joints weren't as overly tight as they are? Yes. Someone else might say that this is unacceptable, and I don't think they would be wrong. For the price of the figure, it probably shouldn't have this kind of joint problems that makes you almost scared to play with it. For a similar price, you get the Axie Toys T-Rex. I had no problems with the joints on this guy. He's also ridiculously heavy and, very close in size. I never even had to heat him up to get him to pose, and I've posed him like crazy, and he is still a brick. This one I worry about. I already feel like some things that I've posed a lot are starting to get a little bit loose. Did you see that? I've only been playing with this guy for probably less than 30 minutes after having heated them, and that's pretty loose. It can still pretty much hold its pose, but not something you really want to see on an expensive figure, let alone a new one that's hardly been used. But again, this guy just looks so cool, I can pretty much forgive it as long as he stays in one piece. So those are my thoughts. I'm going to share a few pictures at the end of this so you can just see him in a few poses. So anyway, that's all I have for now. Thank you for watching. Bye.